Part 53. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 521. Chapter 521 Blood Scene from Lower Body 4. No. It's the same group of people from last time again, Murong slapped the table angrily. I wanted to kill you last time, but this time I also implicated innocent passers-by. It seems that the retaliation against their group last time was not thorough enough, but they were still able to survive and caused this chaos. Brother-in-law, what are you going to do now? Chilil asked worriedly. This was the first time she had seen such a battle. To be honest, she was a little scared. Tanyuj took the information from Secretary Zhang, quickly glanced at the contents, and threw it heavily on the desk. Huh, clown. Please give me your instructions, Mr. Tang. Carry out a comprehensive attack and directly declare the other group bankrupt within 3 days. As for Mr. Xiang, find the information and send it directly to prison. Today's battle is enough for him to spend decades in prison, Tanyuj said simply. A group, the fate of the boss is announced. Yes, Mr. Tang. I'll do it right away. Secretary Zhang bowed slightly and went to execute it immediately. With only 3 days, it is still difficult for the group to declare bankruptcy. However, after Mr. Xiang caused Tanyuj's narrow escape, the Emgrand group launched a crackdown in the past half-month, pouring countless dirty water on the other group. The collapse of the group is only a matter of time, and this time it is just a fatal blow. Hurt him. Last time, because of the kidnapping of Tanyuj, Tanyuj's house was directly bombed. Mr. Xiang barely survived, but his face was seriously injured. Unexpectedly, less than half a month later, he actually came out and jumped around. This time, Qian Yuman almost got into an accident. This cancer can no longer stay and must be eradicated. You guys go back and have a rest. I'll leave this matter to Xiao Zhang. Tanyuj stood up and hurried back to the room. He didn't know how Qian Yuman was doing. Fang Qingguo was taking care of her in the room. He just said that she was okay and she was a little frightened. He was still worried and rushed over to accompany her. Back in the room, Fang Qingguo saw Tanyuj coming and gave a few instructions to leave. At this moment, Qian Yuman was just like an innocent child, sleeping with her arms in her arms. He climbed onto the bed, reached out and held her tightly in his arms, still not waking the person in his arms. I can sleep really well. Tanyuj smiled fondly and looked at the person in his arms seriously. Suddenly, Qian Yuman opened her eyes and felt herself in a familiar and warm embrace, with a big smile on her lips. If you want to go to the bathroom, don't hug me so tightly, I won't be able to get up. Qian Yuman smiled and reached out to poke him. Tanyuj slowly opened his eyes. He had also fallen asleep with her just now, but he woke up as soon as she moved. I'll carry you. Tanyuj directly picked up the princess and walked to the toilet with long legs. Oh. I'm fine, I'm not injured, I can leave on my own, Qian Yuman said, but she held his neck tightly with both hands, showing no sign of wanting to come down. Qian Yuman gently placed her next to the toilet, and Qian Yuman stared at him shyly. What are you doing? Are you standing here and watching? It's not like I've never seen you naked before, Tanyuj said with a chuckle. What? Get out quickly. I'm peeing, not taking a shower. What's there to see? Get out. Qian Yuman stretched out her hand to push him, and Tanyuj had no choice but to leave. Qian Yuman immediately closed the door, took off her pants and went to the toilet. After sleeping for a short while, her face was still a little pale, but much better than before. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 522. Chapter 522 Blood Scene from Lower Body 5. It was just that her stomach was a little stuffy and her bowel movement was good. When she was about to put on her pants, she saw a little bit of scarlet on her underwear, not much but very dazzling. Ah, Qian Yuman screamed. How could it happen? She is pregnant and cannot have menstruation. She will not bleed if she is healthy. When I saw blood on my underwear for the first time after becoming pregnant, I immediately screamed uncomfortably. Tang Yuj, who was waiting outside the door, felt his heart skip a beat when he heard the scream. He immediately rushed in and saw Qian Yuman sitting on the toilet, looking down at her underwear. Wife, what's wrong with you? Tang Yuj asked nervously. Qian Yuman raised her pitiful little face and pointed at her underwear. Her eyes were red. There's blood on my underwear. Blood. Tang Yuj immediately looked at her underwear, and when he saw blood, he gasped in horror. It's okay, don't be nervous, I'll call the doctor to check you right away, just relax. Yeah, Qian Yuman's eyes were still red and she clenched her fists worriedly. Tang Yuj helped her up, helped her put on her underwear thoughtfully, gently carried her back to the bed, and turned around to find the doctor quickly. As he ran, he shouted wildly, and his anxious voice disturbed the entire castle. At this moment, everyone who had gone to rest was awakened and came out to care. Qian Yuman touched her lower abdomen with one hand, and tears kept rolling in her eyes. The child will be fine, the baby will be fine. It's all her fault. She didn't pay attention to rest during this period. This time she still tried to say that she was fine. She obviously couldn't bear the speed of the car. Although she was protected by Tang Yuj, the collision between the speed and the car made her very uncomfortable. At that time, I thought that if I didn't return home, I was afraid that there would still be danger around me, so I gritted my teeth and fought through it all the way. She thought it was okay, but her stomach felt a little stuffy, and she thought it was nothing serious. She was not frightened until she saw blood. It has been more than 2 months. The child has been a part of her life for a long time. A lot of things have happened in the past 2 months. The child has always been very strong. This time it was too thrilling. She was very scared. It seems that she is still a little brave. When Qian Yuman was worried and scared, a group of people swarmed over. Seeing the concerned eyes, her heart felt warm. After a series of examinations by the doctor, Qian Yuman and Tang Yuj kept holding hands. This was their first child, and they were looking forward to his arrival. After the examination, the doctor chuckled. Ms. Tang is fine. She was just a little frightened. The baby is growing up healthily in Ms. Tang's belly. But why is my wife bleeding? Is it because of fetal force? No, Ms. Tang's fetus is very strong. Ms. Tang has no fetal turmoil. Bleeding is normal during pregnancy. It can be improved as long as you take a good rest and take supplements. If you see a little bit of blood in the future, you don't need to worry too much. If the amount is larger, then it's more serious and needs to be checked quickly. Qian Yuman asked again and felt relieved after receiving repeated answers from the doctor. I will give my wife another dose of anti-fetal injection later, and make sure to rest after that, the doctor warned. A smile finally appeared on Qian Yuman's face, and she kept covering her belly with her little hands. Fang Qingguo exhaled slowly and said with a smile. I said it was fine. You are so nervous. I just checked that there is nothing wrong with her body. Everyone chuckled and joked about the tenacity of the little baby in Qian Yuman's belly, which was always very impressive. Husband, you see, my little one has seen the big world, why not call him Tang Qiang from now on? What do you want the name of Sugar Baby and Xiao Manman's baby? And a nickname. Calling for collection. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 523. Chapter 523 Clearly Overturning Jealousy 1. Yuman was sure that everything was fine and was in the mood to joke with them. Husband, you see, my little one has seen the big world. Why don't we just call him Tang Chiang from now on? Strong, what if it's a girl? Tang Yuj shook his head quickly. How could his little princess be called such a name? Just call Tang Chiang, just call Tang Chiang. As a mother, I am so touched that our baby is strong and capable when he stays in the mother's belly. The expression on Qian Yuman's face was extremely serious. I think it's a good name, Qi Lili. I nodded in agreement. Tang Chiang, a manly man, tough and strong, not bad, not bad. That's right, that's right. The two sisters looked at each other and laughed together. No, no, Tang Yuj was anxious. He still wanted to give birth to a little princess. How could it be called such a name? What if when the little princess knew her name, her father didn't help her prevent her from being called Tang Chiang, and she blamed him in the future? Xiao Qiang, you must continue to grow up healthily. Qian Yuman touched her belly and smiled happily. Tang Yuj suddenly went crazy. The others looked at each other and left silently. It was better not to disturb their relationship as husband and wife. Honey, are you serious? Tang Yuj said sadly. Qian Yuman glanced at him and laughed instantly. You can't take it seriously. You idiot. Huh, that's good, my dear daughter. You are lucky that you are not called Tang Chiang. It's not a bad idea to call my nickname Xiao Qiang from now on, Qian Yuman added happily. Tang Yuj's mouth twitched, feeling sympathy for the baby inexplicably. Honey, look, when I was little, my name was Xiao Tang and you were called Xiao Tian. They were both so cute. Why are our daughters called Xiao Tian? Differential treatment. Qian Yuman smiled lightly, feeling relieved knowing that the little baby was fine. I was scared to death when I saw blood just now, but luckily nothing happened. This reminded her that she must be careful in the future and not put her baby in danger again. Okay, let's get some rest early. Tang Yuj danced happily and took off his clothes with a splash. Qian Yuman's face turned dark and a pillow was thrown at her. Go away, why don't you still want to do it? Tang Yuj paused and looked at Qian Yuman innocently. Honey, what are you doing? Don't play tricks on me, Qian Yuman said angrily, lifting the quilt and lying down. Tang Yuj lowered his head and looked at himself. He suddenly had an epiphany and burst out laughing wildly. Ha 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 ha. You girl, what are you thinking about? I just twisted my body. I really want to dance, but I don't want anything to do with you. Qian Yuman opened the quilt and pointed at him angrily. What's wrong with me? Where did I go from here? Every time you dance like this, don't you always want to do bad things? He pretended to be stupid with her. Tang Yuj looked at himself very innocently, the smile on his face was still very wild. No, I really didn't want to do anything bad with you. You really misunderstood this time. I just danced to make you happy. Don't you think my dance is particularly handsome? As he spoke, Tang Yuj waved his clothes and twerked his hips, looking more charming and seductive than a woman. Qian Yuman's blood boiled with excitement. Go away, Qian Yuman blushed, covered herself with quilt and refused to continue looking. It was too tempting, and she was afraid she couldn't help it. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 524. Chapter 524, clearly overturning jealousy too. Tang Yuj climbed onto the bed, slipped under the quilt, and hugged Qian Yuman's waist. Wife, wife. Kindness. Wife. Huh, what are you doing? Wife. Say something quickly. Wife. Are you crazy? There is nothing to sleep on. I just want to call you, hold you. Qian Yuman raised her eyebrows slightly, turned around to face him, and their eyes met. There was a trace of ambiguity in her eyes, and her eyes were attracted by the other person's eyes, unable to move away. Her heart was also jumping rapidly, making her heart beat faster. She really likes him, likes looking at each other so much, and can feel how special she is in his eyes. Thinking of his hug today, a sweet smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. "Husband, are you touched by the fact that I stood in front of you today?" Tanyuj nodded with a bright smile. "I was so moved that I almost shed tears." "Then were you a little bit moved? Or did you fall in love with me at that moment?" Jian Yuman boldly asked, her eyes looking forward to his answer. Today, she didn't know whether her bold move won his heart. Later in the car, he hugged her tightly, and her nervous look made her very warm. At that moment, she deeply believed that he loved her and must have feelings for her. It was impossible for him to have no feelings at all. Tanyuj was silent, just looking at her with a little apology in his eyes, but saying nothing. Jian Yuman frowned slightly, pouted, and felt disappointed. Was his silence not wanting to hurt her? But his silence also hurt her. "Impossible, you obviously care about me and you still hold me so tightly. You must love me." Jian Yuman opened her hands, hugged him, and buried herself in his chest. At that time, I could clearly feel the abnormality of his heartbeat, his nervousness and his fear of losing her. Obviously, she thinks there is love between them. Why does he not admit it and thinks he doesn't love her? Is it just her own fault again? "Xiao Tian Tian!" Tanyuj shouted helplessly. Jian Yuman raised her head and looked at him. What does it mean to call her Xiao Tian Tian at this moment? He was telling himself that he just regarded her as his younger sister. He had always called her that when she was a child and loved her as if she were a younger sister. But from that time on, her love for him was not that of a sister to her brother. She had always known that her feelings for him were between a man and a woman. "I don't care, whether it's Brother Wang or Mr. Tang, you must love me. You are not allowed to not love me," Jian Yuman said willfully. Her eyes were wet, and she hugged him tighter. "Okay, I love you," Tanyuj said helplessly. The attitude is not sincere at all. Jian Yuman is unhappy, it is too perfunctory, and it is obvious that you are not sincere at all. "Xiao Tian Tian, I'm sorry, I can't give you love for the time being, please stop asking me, okay?" Jian Yuman raised her head and stared at him, stubbornly refusing to let the tears flow down. Looking at his guilty eyes, her nose was sore and tears fell crazily from her eyes. Tanyuj saw her crying, and immediately reached out to hug her in distress, but she pushed her away, turned her back to him, and remained silent. After turning around, Jian Yuman's heart ached so much that she couldn't stop crying. She could only bite her fingers tightly and try not to cry. Hate, hate, hate. Woo-oh. Tanyuj is a little bastard, a stinking idiot, a bastard. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 525. Chapter 525 Clearly Overturning Jealousy 3. She is so like a person who lacks love, so why not say nice things to her? This makes her feel very humble and very willful in her courtship. I would rather he continue to insist that he doesn't love her than to say that he loves to coax her. It is clear that he has feelings for her. Is it because she is too eager that she regards his concern for her as love? She couldn't understand him, couldn't read his mind at all. Why doesn't he believe in love? Why would he marry her if he didn't love her, and let her have the illusion that she was deeply loved and cherished by him? Even in the eyes of outsiders, they were a loving couple, and she was a little woman who was held in the palm of their hands and loved. Even if she told others that Mr. Tang did not love her, they would probably laugh at her and say that she was showing off her affection. No one really believed that in front of outsiders, he loved her deeply, doted on her, and wished to hold all the good things in front of her. Just like Fang Qingguo, he was very shocked after learning that Tanyuj was married, and then after seeing how kind Tanyuj was to her, he readily accepted her existence and became friends with her. I really can't see through Mr. Tang. Qian Yuman cried and fell asleep again. She was really tired. Today's exciting gun battle made her so tired that she could fall asleep just by closing her eyes. Tang Yuj waited until Qian Yuman's breathing became even, then he gently held her in his arms. Xiao Tian Tian, I know you really want me to love you, but I dare not. Once we fall in love, there will be mutual suspicion and mutual distrust. The most unstable relationship in the world is love, and the most stable relationship is family affection. The easiest thing to lose is love, only family love will never leave you. The next morning, Qian Yuman woke up at 7 o'clock. When she got up, she felt her eyes and found that they were swollen from crying. She looked at the sleeping man next to her with some resentment. I hate you so much, Qian Yuman snorted arrogantly, changed clothes, had breakfast and went for a walk. After a night's rest, she was active again and proud of her ability to recover. However, I still asked Secretary Zhang to book a doctor for me, and went to the hospital for a systematic checkup in the afternoon to ensure that the baby was healthy. When Tang Yuj got up, he found that Qian Yuman had finished breakfast and was playing chess with Murong Ye. Let's play or not? Qian Yuman held a flying chessboard and threw it in front of Murong Ye. Brother and sister, can you let me go? Don't play such a childish game. You dare not to play with me? I'm so bored now that I don't dare to go out and play. I'm bored at home too. You have to play with me. Qian Yuman refused and insisted that Murong Ye play with her. Qian Yuman saw Tang Yuj coming and grabbed Murong Ye and walked towards the coffee table. Brothers and sisters, let me go, don't play Ludo. Let's play chess. I'm good at that. I cannot play. I'm going to teach you. I believe that my siblings, who are so smart and beautiful, will be very good at playing chess. I'll teach you how to do it. Qian Yuman didn't want to, so she wanted to play flying chess. Honey, let me play flying chess with you. Tang Yuj smiled and came over to play. Qian Yuman snorted at him, ignored him arrogantly, and held on to Murong Ye's arm. Do you want to play with me or not? If you don't play with me, I will drive you away so that you don't bother Li Li and Fei Chen. She was the mistress of the castle. Brother and sister, no. I just want to play with you. Murong Ye looked like he was about to cry. How could anyone be like this? He had seen Qian Yuman's little thoughts. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 526. Chapter 526 Clearly Overturning Jealousy 4. He saw Qian Yuman's little thought, that is, he deliberately dragged himself to play chess in front of Tang Yuj, and deliberately ignored Tang Yuj. Qian Yuman was having a little temper and deliberately used him to make Tang Yuj angry, but he was used as a gun. Suddenly I feel so miserable. Poor thing. So poor. The poor one is almost in tears. Actually threatened his plan to break up Qi Li Li and Tang Feishan, so Tang Yuj could only stare at him a few more times and refuse to leave. Sister Manman, come on. Let's play flying chess. I'll play with you as long as you want, as long as you don't drive me away. Qian Yuman then nodded with satisfaction, and that was what he was talking about. Come and show off. Honey, I want to join too. It's fun when there are many people. Tang Yuj came over and tried to show off. Qian Yuman's face was solemn, she stretched out her hand and slapped his arm heavily, and glared at him. Go away. Tang Yuj's face showed a look that was even more pitiful than an abandoned puppy, looking at her as much as he felt wronged. Get away. Qian Yuman pushed the person away with her butt, turned around and smiled brightly at Murong Ye. Murong, you go first or me first? Murong Ye smiled stiffly and looked at Tang Yuj pitifully. He was stared at, he felt Tang Yu's murderous eyes, and he felt that his body and mind were being destroyed. The two of them were having a bad temper, so why did they drag him along? He was innocent. He just happened to have enough food today and was dragged into playing chess by Jian Yuman without going out for a while. Out of resentment, Tang Yuj had no choice but to settle for breakfast first, and then join in shamelessly later. When Tang Yuj came back, he found that Jian Yuman and Mirongye were having a lot of fun. They were laughing together and having a great time. I wipe it? Tang Yuj's eyes instantly became sharper. Mirongye, who had his back to Tang Yuj, stiffened up and immediately felt something was wrong in his eyes. He tilted his head stiffly and looked at Tang Yuj's terrifying eyes, and immediately begged pitifully for mercy. Sister Manman, don't be like this, stop playing with me. Look at Xiao Tang's eyes, I almost died 100 times. Ignore him, Jian Yuman said with a smile, ignoring Tang Yuj. He also wanted to ignore him, but he couldn't. Sister Manman, you know, I only have Lili in my heart, so don't make me angry with Xiao Tang. If Lili sees me playing Ludo with you, she will definitely misunderstand us. Lili doesn't like you anyway, Jian Yuman said ruthlessly. Wow. 6. Sister Manman, please don't hurt me like this, okay, why tell the truth? It's good for me to play with you. Lili and I look the same. You can imagine on your own. It's Lili who plays Ludo with you. It's also a favor to you. Hurry up and play the dice. Mirongye raised his head and looked at Jian Yuman. Judging from her expression, she was really out of touch and couldn't get into it at all. At this moment, the savior came. Yun Duo, dressed in a handsome and elegant outfit, came to Mirongye and bowed slightly to him. Little Lord. Mirongye almost burst into tears when he saw Yun Duo. He hugged Yun Duo's thighs with both hands and shouted. Duo, I miss you so much. You are finally here, otherwise I will die and you will never see me again, young master. Yun Duo looked confused and was speechless for a while when he saw his master's exaggerated behavior. Young master, I will only be away for a few days. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 527. Chapter 527 Clearly Overturning Jealousy 5. Yun Duo looked confused and was speechless for a while when he saw his master's exaggerated behavior. Young master, I will only be away for a few days. You're not here, do you know how lonely I am, young master? I almost died yesterday, the point is, I almost died for the second time today. Did you feel the murderous look behind him? The sense of crisis was caused by Jian Yuman in front of him. He couldn't even cry now even if he wanted to. Yun Duo received Mirongye's pitiful eyes and immediately understood what had happened and looked at her sympathetically. Young master, I see that you are very lively and have experienced strong winds and waves. You go play first while I go put your luggage. The machine is stuck, the bag is right, Yazoo Dai. Don't leave, Duo or Mirongye directly hugged Yun Duo's waist. Don't abandon me, young master. Yun Duo, do you want to play chess together? Jian Yuman invited with a smile. She and Yun Duo hadn't seen each other for a long time. Mirongye's eyes lit up, he jumped up and shook his non-existent bangs. There have been too many dangers around Xiao Tang recently. I think it's better to lend you Duo for a few days to protect your safety. There is no one more suitable for you than Duo. Brothers and sisters, don't be too moved. This is what I should do. In this way, you don't have to hold him back all the time. Huh, Jian Yuman looked at Yun Duo, her eyes brightening. Really? Jian Yuman looked at Yun Duo with a look that almost ate her up. Yun Duo is so handsome, of course I would, but it's a pity that he is not a man, otherwise I would just go to bed. Jian Yuman joked happily, looking at Yun Duo with a slightly lewd look. Yun Duo smiled awkwardly. At this moment, She also felt the terrifying eyes projected on her. This was the anger of the devil from hell. It's time to play chess, it's time to play chess. Jian Yuman happily invited Yun Duo. Then it became 3 people playing chess. Tang Yuj looked at him not far away with resentful eyes and couldn't get close because Jian Yuman wouldn't let him join. He just watched Jian Yuman and Murongya having so much fun, so resentful. It's very happy to hug you from left to right, right? Very happy, right? Yunduo played for a while and said pitifully to Jian Yuman. Manman, why do I feel that Mr. Tang looks at me in a scary way? He won't even be jealous of me. And I, knowing that I only have Li in my heart, am actually jealous, Murongya complained. Jian Yuman said with a smile. That's right. You also feel that Mr. Tang is jealous. It's still a century-old vinegar, Yun Duo added. No, 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 it's 100-year-old white vinegar, Murongya added. Jian Yuman's mood improved instantly after being depressed all morning. Sure enough, in the eyes of outsiders, Tang Yuj was just jealous, and she wasn't overthinking it. It seems that the plan to make Mr. Tang jealous was very successful. Keep playing chess. Again. Murongya and Yun Duo wailed together. They felt like they had died many times. Why did they continue to play with them? They want relief. Stop being a target. The castle was particularly lively today, with many people coming, including the new guest Xian Yingzhi. Xiao Qian, I'm here. The uninvited Xian Yingzhi was finally able to go on a business trip, and immediately rushed to Berlin to find Jian Yuman. Jian Yuman saw the cute little Xian Yingzhi and immediately waved with a smile. Yingzhi, come and play Ludo. Okay. Upon hearing this, Xian Yingzhi immediately laughed and joined in, without even seeing any stopping looks from his companions. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 528. Chapter 528 Two Little Babies 1. Okay. Upon hearing this, Xian Yingzhi immediately laughed and joined in, without even seeing any stopping looks from his companions. Don't come. Don't come. This is a huge pit. You will regret it if you come. If you didn't see the pain in their eyes, you must not come. However, Xian Yingzhi, who was in a happy state, did not see the looks conveyed by the 2 kind people at all. Still asked innocently. Are your eyes uncomfortable? Why are you blinking? Murongya and Yun Duo both covered their faces and couldn't talk anymore. This little cutie didn't even see the look in their eyes to stop him. Wish you luck. Huh? Xian Yingzhi tilted his little head, very puzzled. Why are you so dazed? Keep playing. You don't want me to join in. You're so stingy. Isn't it just right for 4 people to play? Murongya and Yun Duo rolled their eyes again. They really couldn't talk anymore. They didn't say anything. Yingzhi, hurry, 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 Jian Yuman urged, throwing the dice into his hand. Okay, Xian Yingzhi joined in with a smile. He didn't understand anything. He didn't feel the murderous eyes behind him staring at him. He was enjoying playing flying chess and laughing very happily. Tang Yuj was completely ignored early in the morning. He watched Jian Yuman evolve from 2 people to 4 people playing Ludo without him. His wife got into trouble, and he slapped her in a shameless manner like before. He was ignored and even slapped away. How pitiful. At lunchtime, Jian Yuman sat next to Qi Lili. The seat next to her originally belonged to him, and no one dared to take it. It just so happened that there was a who took over in a very shameless manner. Yingzhi, come and sit next to me, Jian Yuman warmly invited. Xian Yingzhi ran to her side and sat down, smiling. It's been a long time since I had dinner with Xiao Qian. Countless pairs of eyes looked at Xian Yingzhi. This guy is so brave. Xian Yingzhi saw everyone looking at him and smiled innocently, revealing his cute dimples. Xiao Qian, Whatever you want to eat, I'll get it for you. That dish. Qianyuman pointed to the dish that was a little far away. Xianying immediately brought it over. Qianyuman asked for another dish and brought it over again. What Xianying couldn't reach, Qianyuman pinched him, and the two of them had a great time pinching each other. Tangyuj was completely ignored, and at the same time received sympathetic looks from his friends. I thought this was enough. If I had to go for a pregnancy test in the afternoon, I would always take him, the father of the child, with me. The result was rejected. She took Xianying's arm and went to the hospital. He wanted to follow, but he was glared at and ordered to stay at home, saying that he was a high-risk person and should not go out with her. In the end, Tangyuj became a left-behind child. Instead of going for a pregnancy checkup with his wife, Xianying, a silly boy, had to accompany Qianyuman for a pregnancy checkup no matter how much Tangyuj glared at her. After they left, Tangyuj immediately called his friends. Xiaotian, take your immortal Yingj away quickly and stop pestering my wife. I can't help you. Yingj has to go on a business trip to Berlin for a week and won't be back until a week later. 1 week, and they will go back a week later. Does it mean that after they go back, this silly boy will follow them all the time? Can't you send him to South Africa again? Lan Tianlu was speechless and hung up the phone directly, leaving no time to pay attention to him. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 529. Chapter 529. Two Little Babies 2. Qianyuman and Xianying went to the hospital. They held hands and the two sisters arrived at the hospital well. After a round of examinations, the doctor who was looking at the report raised his eyes and looked at the men and women opposite who were talking and laughing. She looked at Xianying with extremely strange eyes, then at Qianyuman, and coughed lightly. Madam, according to the examination report, the fetus has grown within the normal range and its nutrition has kept up. As long as you pay attention to rest, it will be fine. Really, very healthy. Qianyuman was happy when she heard this. Yes, very healthy. After receiving the doctor's response, Qianyuman was completely relieved. This was actually the third time the doctor said she was in good health. She is indeed a strong little girl. She has grown up healthy and strong. She is so strong even in her mother's belly. How incredible a baby she will be when she is born in the future. The next step was to do a B ultrasound. Qianyuman lay on the bed obediently, watching the doctor's instruments slide on her belly, and her eyes brightened as she looked at the little bean sprouts that were growing up. I remember that the first time, I couldn't see it, but now I can see it, but it's a little different. Qianyuman looked at the display screen in confusion. Yeah, there are 2 gestational sacs. Xianying shouted in surprise at this time. Yes, why are there 2? Qianyuman was also confused when she saw it. It seemed like there was only one last time. The doctor said with a smile. They are twins. You hear, they have 2 fetal heartbeats and 2 gestational sacs. They are fraternal twins. Wow. They are still fraternal, so they are most likely twins, or same-sex babies who look different. As expected of Xiaoqian, the family inheritance is just different. Xianying looked at the screen with an extremely excited expression. Getting 2 done at once, what a wonderful thing. Qianyuman had not yet fully digested the news that she was pregnant with 2 children. Although she had expected to have twins before, the last time she checked, it was still 1, and this time there were 2. Qianyuman and Qilili were originally identical twins, and there were many cases of twins in her ancestors, so she also expected that her strong genes would allow her to have 2 at once, which would be simple and hassle-free. Unexpectedly, I was actually pregnant with 2 children, and it was very possible that they were twins. I feel so excited just thinking about it, and now I want to fly back immediately to tell Tang Yuj. If I had known that there was such good news in today's pregnancy test, I would not have lost my temper with him. Now he cannot know that she is pregnant with 2 children at the first time. Congratulations to both of you. The doctor felt the joy of the couple and immediately congratulated them. Knowing that they were pregnant with twins, they would definitely be extremely happy. Qian Yuman was stunned and pointed at Xian Yingzhen himself with a smile. Doctor? Do you think we are husband and wife? The doctor looked at Xian Yingzhen and said with a smile. No. I also said that you, a great beauty, actually married an underage child as your wife. Ahaha, Qian Yuman laughed instantly, her mouth twisted with laughter. Yes. How could I have a sister-brother relationship? Xian Yingzhen was unhappy in an instant, and his angry look was very cute. Doctor, what's wrong with marrying me? Is there something wrong with me? Besides, I'm already 22 years old, I'm not underage. 22, the doctor looked unconvinced. His face looked like he was 17 years old, and even 17 years old seemed too much. Of in-laws, look at my ID card. In order to prove himself, Xian Yingzhen took out his ID card. Is it his fault that he looks like a child? End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 530. Chapter 530. Take the money and leave my son. 1. In a secret restaurant in Berlin, a corner of the restaurant is very secluded and quiet. This table is very quiet, dull, and depressing, and the atmosphere is very wrong. One of them is a handsome middle-aged man. The middle-aged man has a majestic gaze and looks at the woman opposite him a little ruthlessly. The woman opposite had a peerless face and a cold, arrogant expression. Looking at the middle-aged man opposite, she was very cold and unwilling to admit defeat. Tang Wentao put a check in his hand on the table, pushed it in front of Qi Lile, and said with a sneer. Take it. Once you accept it, leave my son. On the check that Tang Wentao pushed out, there were 8 zeros at the back. The amount was staggering. Ordinary people would be excited to rob it when they saw this money. However, Qi Lili opposite didn't even look at her, a cold smile hung on her lips. Uncle, do you think you can send me away with 200 million? Tang Wentao frowned and patted the table hard. Aren't you just getting close to my son because of money? Now I've given you 200 million for nothing, and you still haven't accepted it. Do you still want another 1 billion? Tang Wentao looked at Qi Lili with cold and piercing eyes. He wanted to scold the woman in front of him, but this was a high-end restaurant. As a celebrity in the business world, he couldn't get angry easily and lose his face. Qi Lili looked at the 200 million people on the table and smiled interestingly. The cold and arrogant smile on her face attracted the attention of many men around her. 20 million, she actually wanted to use 200 million to block her son's happiness. Unexpectedly, Father Tang was even more ridiculous than she imagined. In their Tang dynasty family, 200 million is considered a small amount of money. For example, my brother-in-law once spent 300 million to buy a 5-star chain restaurant just because Qian Yuman said that the food in this restaurant was delicious and that he wanted to eat it every day. Dine anytime. What's more, the eldest lady Tang Xinglu liked a sugar wine manor, so she asked the Tang family to buy it, which cost nearly 100 million. But he gave her 200 million to send her away. What's even more ridiculous is that with Tang Faishan's current assets, it was only a matter of 1 sentence for her to ask him to give her 200 million. It's not that she didn't mind that the money wasn't enough, but that Tang's father was ridiculing her and deliberately used such a small amount of money to drive her away. You must leave my son. If you are willing to leave after taking 1 billion, You must sign a contract with me. Tang's father was seriously disgusted. I will not leave Faishan Qilili, I said firmly. I don't think that if I don't agree with you, can you really be together? Don't forget that you are not the only one behind you, but also your father Qijan. If you insist on having your own way and pester my son, I can let you. Dad's small business has collapsed. As for your sister, don't think they can help you. As for Yuj, who has nothing to do, he still relies on the Tang dynasty family for his money. Do you think they can help your father? Qilili looked at her with sneer in her heart. The father who doesn't even know the financial background of his eldest son is really a failure. He thinks that his brother-in-law is the incompetent son he claims. Seeing that Qilili continued to be indifferent, Tang's father immediately took a cruel move. The Tang dynasty group now belongs to me, and you also know that I have more than one son. If you insist on being with Faishan, don't blame me for preventing him from inheriting the Tang dynasty group that he is working hard to run. Lei Ye is going to start to torture again. End of this chapter.